The main thing is that greatness is doable. Greatness is many, many individual feats. Each of them is doable. My name's Lindsay, welcome back to my channel. So for those of you who don't know, I'm a tax accountant working in Boston, and I passed my CPA exams last summer, in the summer of 2018. But actually I went home for Easter and I was in my old bedroom and I was going through my old books, and I wound up finding these two books that had such a profound impact on me when I was studying last summer, and I felt like I just had to share them with you guys because I think that if you're studying for any exam, whether it be the bar, the CPA exam, or maybe your CFA, I think, then I would highly suggest these two books because it really changed the game for me. Before I get into this video, I have to show you guys, I was going through the book Grit, and I wound up finding my old CPA exam vision board, which is so funny, and this was for audit, and I reused it for every single exam, and I would just fold over the top. But how cute is this? I have, like, the more you learn, the more you earn. You don't want to look back and know that you could have done better. That's a really big one for me. And then also a Boston brownstone, which is kind of my dream house. It was just so sweet to look back to and realize how far I've come in not only my achievements, but also my self-confidence and myself as a learner and as a grower. The two books I want to talk about today is the book Grit by Angela Duckworth, and then also the book Flow. So a little bit of an overarching thesis of mine is this book is motivating and it makes you see your true potential, which is so important, and it makes you feel like you're not spinning your wheels with your really big efforts for an exam. And then the book Flow is important because it teaches you the psychology of a good study sesh. So let's just get into the book Grit here. And this was actually the first book that I bought, and I just saw it recommended online, and it just seemed like something that I would end up really appreciating, which I did. The whole theory of grit is that success isn't just genetic. And so say you have that one crazy friend who's had a 4.0 all through college. This whole book is the theory that that person isn't just a genius and born a genius. Nobody's just born amazing. The whole theory of this book is that true success is a series of effort, more effort, 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 and effort. And this is just a really good lesson to drive home to, especially anybody who's about to take on a really huge exam, because it's so easy to compare yourself to the smarter kids in college when you all graduate and you're all taking the same exam and you think that girl or that guy is going to instantly do better than me, and that's absolutely not the case. So the whole book, it actually starts in West Point, and West Point is an extremely highly respected academy, and although 1,200 students are actually admitted and enrolled into the school, 1 out of the 5 cadets will end up dropping out before graduation. So they only let in such a minuscule amount of people. However, 1 in 5 of them still drops out. And to get in, you have to have amazing SAT scores, you have to have an application since the 11th grade, you need a nomination from a member of Congress, and yet this whole book kind of goes out to see how come people are able to push through this. What is the differentiator between people who can survive West Point versus those who end up dropping out? And there's also this rigorous program called BEAST that they kind of go into, and they try to predict who is going to make it through this. At first, they thought that maybe it would be someone who visualized noble deeds and courageous accomplishments. They thought it was someone who had just really pure, great intentions. But after study, they end up realizing that rising to the occasion had almost nothing to do with talents. Those who dropped out of training rarely did so from a lack of ability. Rather, what mattered, Mike said, was a never give up attitude. And that was what always predicted success time and time again. And I think that's just a great lesson for anybody before going into something that is really going to beat down your self-confidence, like a really hard exam. So another thing worth noting is that why were really highly accomplished people so obsessed with their pursuits? And why do people not give up? This all kind of stems from, and in a very real sense, these people are satisfied being unsatisfied. Each was chasing something of an unparalleled interest and importance, and it was the chase as much as the capture that was gratifying. Their passion was enduring. And so I just love the whole theory of this book, that is, as long as you have a passion that doesn't die, that you're not gonna have fleeting interests in things, if you keep on going at it, you're going to achieve it. And I just love this book so much. Like, I know my kids are gonna read it when they're like in their teenage years. So the next part of this book, it really just dives into the importance of effort. Half of the time, success is just because somebody actually put the effort into it. At the end of the day is, the main thing is that greatness is doable. Greatness is many, many individual feats. Each of them is doable. And not only that, but a very high level of performance is in fact an accretion of mundane acts. So an example of this with an exam is you want to get that 95 on the FAR exam. That is achievable, but getting that 95, it's going to be a series of boring, mundane tasks like module 1, doing module 1 again, 100 multiple choice questions, doing that again in the next 4 hours. This book is just so crucial to gas yourself up and realize that anything's really possible if you put your mind to it. And this book has really changed the way that I go about my life too, because I never thought that I could have a somewhat successful YouTube channel. And I just kept on making videos and I was obsessed with it and I was getting no rewards for it, but the chase of subscribers was so interesting that I'm literally getting paid this month, or I just got paid. And it's crazy. And this book just always goes to show that this is the truth and that you can achieve whatever you want. And I would highly suggest that anybody read this book if you're about to go into an exam that you are not confident in. I wish that I read this book before college, because I would have realized that just because I'm from a smaller town and from a high school that didn't even have a GPA, it was like all liberal arts, then I can still achieve success if I just put in the effort for it. So the last part of this book that I want to show you guys was really interesting to me, because how do you get obsessed with a certain goal? The way to get obsessed with a certain goal is to realize what your ultimate life goal is. And so for me, say you have a tier of goals and you kind of want to establish what those are. So maybe this might be graduate high school, because that contributes to a larger goal, which is graduate college, which maybe your biggest goal is get rich. So that's just an example of it. And that is why, although your life goal isn't to graduate from high school, you see that it contributes to a very top level goal of yours. For mine, if you guys are curious, there was passing the CPA exam, and that really isn't my life obsession, to be honest. But the thing is, passing the CPA exam contributed to a larger goal, which is have my own practice as a tax accountant. And this contributes to a larger goal, which is to be a mom and to save up for my kids' education. And I'm not even having a kid for the next 5 years, but like, it's so important to me to have my debt paid off, to have money, because when you have money, it's not everything, but when you don't have money, it's everything. And I know that's so true. And I don't want my kids to ever have shortcomings in their life, I guess, because of my decisions. Overall, I would highly suggest this book for you guys. And this is not just for the CPA exam. It could be for the bar exam. It could be for maybe you're trying to set up your own practice or your own business. Such a good book. This next book, Flow, is a much denser read, and I would suggest that you probably read it over time. It's a little bit harder to get into, but I ultimately found it to be very interesting. And the book Flow is basically, say you have a week of really amazing study sessions and everything is so gratifying and satisfying and you're so focused, and then the next day you can't even focus, it's frustrating, and nothing is enjoyable. I've always had this experience in college, and I'd be thinking to myself on a Friday when I was struggling to study, what is the differentiator between these two study sessions? How come I have one great study session this day and this other day I am like scratching my head and I just don't care? And so this book completely goes into it, and this book kind of dives into how do you get into the flow. And the flow can be something that you can implement when you're studying, and that's kind of the whole purpose of this video. But you can also implement flow when you're running or when you're having a conversation, and it makes the experience just really gratifying and a very rewarding experience. So let's just get into what flow is. This starts with the whole theory of entropy. I think I'm saying that correctly. And entropy is when you're going about your daily life, but there's something in the back of your mind that keeps on distracting you. For example, some of you guys might know this. Say you went on a date and that person didn't text you back ever, and you had an amazing date and now your heart's a little bit upset. And so that just keeps on like coming into the back of your mind. That is called entropy. And the exact opposite of that condition is optimal experience. It is when you're fully just immersed in the moment, you're in the present and nothing's distracting you. When the information that keeps coming into awareness is congruent with goals and psychic energy flows effortlessly, the positive feedback strengthens itself. And so this is kind of an experience when you're studying, you're fully immersed in it, you're not looking at the clock, and this paragraph just really spoke to me. Not only that, but often the person in this optimal experience lets success pass unnoticed. It is enough to know that he can do it, because when he is working at the top performance, the experience is so enthralling that it's almost painful for him to slow down. And I totally felt this way when I was doing multiple choice questions with Becker alone in the library, and just the satisfying experience of hitting green after green, correct answer after correct answer for multiple choice questions in Becker, it was so satisfying to me that I would push my lunch back to 3 p.m. because I couldn't stop. And this book kind of dives into what creates that experience. Flow is important both because it makes the present instantly more enjoyable and because it builds a self-confidence that allows us to develop skills and make significant contributions towards humankind. And I thought that was a really impacting paragraph. And if you guys can't tell, the font here is so small. This book is dense, but it had a really good message. So the next part of the book is kind of the main reason why I would suggest it to anybody who is studying for any exam, and this just goes ahead to talk about how to get into that flow experience. So to achieve flow, firstly, the experience usually occurs when the tasks that we are confronted with, we need to have a chance of completing. By kind of being able to check off these boxes that you did it, that is satisfying, and it can't be something that's so abstract that you don't know when you've done it. There has to be a chance to be able to get it done, and this might be covering 4 chapters of a textbook. Say if your goal is just study, there's no way to really complete that, so it's very helpful to get into flow by having a clear goal. Secondly, we have to be able to concentrate on what we're doing. So that's a really big one. I mentioned that a lot in my CPA exam videos, that you need to be able to focus, and you need clear goals that will provide immediate feedback. And so I literally broke down all my goals for every single study session because of this, and it helped so much. It was get 100% on chapter 1 for the multiple choice questions. I literally checked that off. Another one was do half the Sims for chapter 2. And so by having a million mini goals, I had that immediate feedback of, yes, Lindsay, you did that. And that is what really helped keep me on track. So then another one is also removing yourself from the awareness and worries and frustrations of everyday life. That kind of goes into how I suggest that if you're taking a really large exam, you don't do anything else that's really mentally taxing, because it's going to be distracting from you. And lastly, another big component of flow is that you're not aware of the passage of time because you're just fully immersed in it. And I was always seeking those study sessions when I wasn't looking at the clock. So this book just goes into all of the elements of a really good study session, and it is literally insane just how much it spoke to me. And so another part of this book that was really interesting is it goes ahead to talk about coping even with stress when you're on your pursuits of a really large goal. So the first introductory paragraph of this is, why are some people weakened by stress while others gain strength from it? Basically, the answer is simple. Those who know how to transform a hopeless situation into a new flow activity that can be controlled will be able to enjoy themselves and emerge stronger from the ordeal. And so essentially, with this understanding of how to create flow with any experience, you can conquer stressful situations. And I even try to get and implement flow when I'm at work, when I'm in a really large provision, by setting mini goals, and it's really helpful. So I should really actually get to work now. It's about 8:20 and I have a 9 o'clock meeting. Overall, I would highly suggest these 2 books. I'm going to link them down below, and if you buy them, please use my links. That'd be really helpful. Yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. These books go to show you can enjoy what you do when you're trying to achieve a large goal, and you can do it. Overall. Thanks guys, I hope you guys have a great day. If you guys have read these books, please let me know. I think that they're amazing, amazing reads for anybody going into college, going about an exam, or really just trying to achieve anything. So bye guys, thanks so much. Like and comment down below, as well as get me to 2,000. Bye.